and welcome to Ask Your Academic. Today's session will cover the MSc Cancer Research and Precision Medicine, the MSc Precision Medicine with Specialisms, and the MSc Precision Medicine and Pharmacological Innovation. We're joined by a number of our programme directors, and we should be expecting a couple more. So on our call just now, we have Professor Helen Whedon, we have Professor Joanne Edwards, and we have Dr. Carolyn Loveridge. So thanks very much for all the questions that have been submitted before today's session. We also have the chat box, so if during the session you have any further questions, you can pop them in there and we'll keep an eye on that. If after the session you have any additional questions, you can send them to the programme administration inbox. I'll pop those details into the chat box, but you can also find those details on the programme web pages on our website. So we are recording the session today. That link will be shared with you probably once all our sessions are complete, so you'll not receive that immediately, but that will come to you. So we'll not waste any time and we'll get started on our questions if that's okay. So the first one is, what can we expect from the programme? So I suppose for this it may be good to hear a bit of an overview of the different programmes, if that's okay. Helen, you've got your mic off, would you like to start?
Yeah, no, I'll start. So I'll start with the Cancer Research and Precision Oncology Master's course that Joanne and I both co-lead. So the course basically will start with the basics in sort of cancer, so a course called Hallmarks of Cancer. So this will sort of introduce you to cancer, to some of the sort of genetic changes and things which lead to cancer, and to some of the treatments. We then move on to some more specialist courses. So as part of this, you'll do a core skills course, which will be sort of practical based. So that's looking at some of the sort of techniques and models that we will use for looking at cancer. And you get to do some lab experience doing that. You'll then go on to do some more specialist courses. So we have cancer stem cells, metastasis, and the bone marrow, the microenvironment. So that's looking at sort of solid tumours and leukemias. Again, so looking at why we can't cure some cancers and why, you know, some patients will progress to more aggressive cancers and why it might spread to other parts of the body. What else do we do? So we have a distinguished seminars series as well. So as part of your programme as well, you get to attend all the talks from sort of academic staff worldwide who come to our institute to give lectures. Seminars once a week. So as part of that, so that course, basically you get to choose 10 of the seminars which really inspired you and to sort of write a short sort of dialogue on those, and to pick one of those to sort of write an essay on and go into more depths on. We also do clinical trials and drug development. So that's in the second semester. And we also have a sort of more specialist course, which is looking at sort of latest treatments. So that's immunotherapies and precision oncology, so looking at targeted therapies. And then that leads into your sort of projects. So you do a designer project course, which then leads into your lab project. So that can either be a wet lab project where you're doing experiments, you know, sort of physical experiments in the laboratory, or a dry investigative project as well. So I think that sort of summarises the course. Carolyn, do you want to talk about your course next?
Of course, yes. Hi, good morning. Nice to speak to you today. So I'm one of the co-directors of the Precision Medicine with Specialisms, MSc. So I can tell you a little bit about that. So essentially, this programme, we have core courses that are focused in key aspects of precision medicine. So the first course that you will do is precision diagnostics and therapeutics. So here you will learn about some key aspects of precision medicine, including diagnostic imaging and the use of artificial intelligence in precision medicine. We also have a lab skills course. So there you'll learn some key skills in Western blotting and QRT-PCR. And you'll also think a little bit about next generation sequencing, what the workflow is for that. So obviously being able to sequence genomes and transcriptomes is a key aspect for precision medicine. So that will be covered in that course. We have a distinguished seminar course as well. So we have speakers from the triple helix of precision medicine. So that's from academia, the NHS and industry. So we have some really great speakers and leading experts in the field lined up for that. And you will be able to focus on one of these topics more in depth. And you'll also be doing some reflective work there. We have a course on omics, where you're going to learn a little bit about various omics approaches, from genomics to proteomics and metabolomics. And you'll also learn some R programming as well. And finally, the core courses, the last core courses are pharmacogenomics. For the specialisms, you'll have the chance to opt for one of 3 specialisms. So we have cardiovascular disease, cancer, and inflammatory disease. And you will complete 2 20-credit courses for each specialism. So you can't mix and match these. So the courses that you do will be for the given specialism. And then you will finish off finally with your project. So I hope that gives a good overview of the precision medicine with specialisms. I can see my colleague Martin has now joined the call. Martin, would you like to give a wee overview of the PMPI programme?
Yeah, I'm trying my best, guys. I'm really sorry. I'm having some real IT issues. I've been on Zoom meetings all morning, so I don't know why it's suddenly just started to happen now. And something else is happening here at my end. I don't know what is going on. Yeah, okay. So my name is Dr. Martin McBride. I'm a co-director of the Precision Medicine and Pharmacological Innovation Masters. This is a Scottish Funding Council funded PhD. So one of the advantages we have in this program is that you don't have to pay fees. This is because the Scottish Government feels that this master's is particularly of interest in providing a workforce that can contribute to precision medicine, particularly in Scotland, particularly on the west coast of Scotland. The other exceptional thing about this program is that we offer third-party projects. As part of your master's, you'll have a 12-week project that you will be undertaking during the summer term. And we offer, for those that wish it, to work in an industrial setting. So it's a 12-week placement within an industrial setting or within the NHS, or still some of our students still prefer to do projects within the academic setting. So the program is based around 3 pillars: scientific basis of stratified medicine, commercialization of science, and application of research and evaluation of new technologies. So we're at the cutting edge of genetics and pharmacology in this. We have a wide variety of students that apply to this program. And the other key thing is that this program is not just taught by Glasgow. And I think it's unique in Scotland based on this, that this master's is offered not just by Glasgow, but there's an Aberdeen campus. So we have 2 campuses on this master's. You can either study from Glasgow, where most of the students actually study from, or you can be based in Aberdeen. But in addition to Aberdeen, Strathclyde, Edinburgh and Dundee also contribute to the teaching of this programme. It's one of the reasons why the Scottish Government were willing to fund this, is because we're bringing together the expertise from the different universities. So, for example, Strathclyde contribute to the entrepreneurial courses, Dundee contribute to statistics. Aberdeen mainly focus on business and biobusiness. And at Glasgow, we teach on a number of courses from pharmacology, and we share courses as well. We share courses with the other precision medicine course that Callum was talking about as well. Okay, that's a brief overview of everything.
Thank you. Someone has asked, will the duration of the master's project be similar to that of an undergraduate?
So an undergraduate project would tend to last for about 10 weeks, and that's not necessarily full time, but the master's programs that are offered, at least in our institute, all run for 12 weeks.
Perfect, thank you.
It's still a bit short, actually. One of the reasons, sorry.
Sorry. So someone has asked, what is the main differences between the Precision Medicine and Pharmacological Innovation Programme and the Precision Medicine with Specialism Programme? Carolyn, Martin, between you, I don't know if you
So just very briefly, there was an overlap between the programs, as the name would suggest. As I say, the other precision medicine with specialisms can offer projects in industry as well. So that's common as well. I guess one of the main distinctions is the fact our program, PMPI, is funded by the SFC. And then the other main distinction is that we focus more on biobusiness. About a third of the program is based on biobusiness. And that in itself, to offer this biobusiness opportunity to biologists is fairly unusual. So I guess that's the Carolyn.
Yep, thanks, Martin. So one of the key differences is that for the precision medicine with specialisms, obviously you do get the chance to do the courses in one of the three specialist subjects. So that's the cardiovascular, cancer, or inflammatory disease. So that is, yeah, one of the other sort of main differences. So basically those courses will give you a sort of basic grounding in the specialist subject, and you would be doing your project in that particular specialist area as well. So Leslie, did you have anything to add there? Or
no, that was pretty much what I was going to say, Carolyn. I was going to touch on the projects, but I would say the precision medicine with specialisms offers a broad sort of view of the triple helix that's involved in precision medicine. Whereas I think what Martin's already touched on is the entrepreneurship and biotechnology sort of side of things is the PMPI programme. That's probably the two main differences.
Thank you. We've had a few questions asking about the future prospects after the course, so in terms of all the courses, so in terms of jobs and career pathways. I don't know if anybody would like to go first. Joanne, we've not heard from yourself yet, if you'd like to.
Hi. So the people taking the Cancer Research Precision Oncology Master's Programme have really got quite a diverse career prospect. So we've got many of the students that take this Master's go on to do PhDs, both within Glasgow, but also throughout the world. But also it's quite common for international medics and clinicians to do this Master's, and then they return back home to continue in their clinical degree. We have people that are interested in careers within the NHS, particularly biomedical scientists. We also have quite a few people go and work in industry. I think the main thing about this Master's is it really gives you good exposure to recognised experts in the field of cancer research and allows you to align them with technical aspects, data analysis, critical analysis of papers, and really gives you a good feel for whether you think academia, more clinical and more industrial research is really the way you want to go forward. We've had a few people went down the route of working in publications as scientific writers and things like that as well. So the career prospects have been really encouraging, and it's great to get feedback from the students about all the different career paths that's available. I've probably forgotten a few if Helen wants to say anything on top of that. No, okay. Thank you.
I could probably give some examples from the students from last year, what they've gone on to do, pretty much the same as what you've already said, Joanne, but we have, some people have went on to do the clinical science training programmes with the NHS. We've had some students go and become technicians for NHS labs or research labs within the university. We've had some people go on to work in industries. We've got a few students who went to work at Canon Medical. We've had some students go on to work at Charles River and Merck. We've also had a lot of students go on to do PhDs. And again, some people have gone into medical writing and medical communications. I think everyone from last year now has a job or have gone on to further studies. So there's no one sort of left looking for something. Everyone's been successful in getting something else after this master's. So yeah.
I guess I can really only say pretty much all of the above, particularly what Leslie was saying there. Quite a number of our students use the 12-week project masters as a almost like a 12-week interview. A number of the companies employ the students directly, or at least offer, not all accept. And quite a few students have got positions that way. Some companies only offer projects if they have a particular post in mind. So that's something to bear in mind. I'm not sure, but all of the students actually, but very similar. We've had clinicians come on the program and went back to medicine. We have students going on to do PhDs. But I think many of them dip their toe into this biobusiness sort of entrepreneurial type of role, and some indeed have went on to posts in those areas.
Thank you. Should students make any preparations before starting any of the programmes? I don't know if anybody would like to go first for that one. Martin, your mic's still off. Anything you'd like to?
Yeah, well, I guess, I think the difference of mindset between an undergraduate and a postgraduate qualification as a master's is something to think about. It's we expect more independent learning. So I think it's probably more to do with state of mind. I think having a good understanding of the program that you're going to move on to, there'll be lots of information on the web, particularly the university website, and elsewhere, and you can speak to lots of people as well. But I think it's more of a mindset difference, at least as I see it, because it's not an undergraduate, it's not, it's an extension. It's a step up from your undergraduate learning and teaching. So that's something to prepare yourself for. Independent learning, I think, is more expected. Just as as a general point.
Would anybody else like to add anything else to that? Or are we? No, we all good? Perfect. For the precision medicine with specialism program, someone has asked what programming experience do we need? Carolyn or Leslie, I don't know if you could pick up that one.
So in the precision medicine with specialisms program, we do have the Introduction to Omics course, and that does include some training in R programming. So there's nothing specifically that you would need in advance of that. We can maybe potentially signpost you to some online resources, but we will be providing you with the training that you will need as part of that course. So I would say there's nothing maybe specific that you need in advance, but yeah, we can give some signposting if that helps.
Perfect, thank you. I'm just looking in the chat box, there's a couple of questions that have came through. I think they're around the cancer research programme. I'm a medical oncologist and have no previous lab experience. Would that be a problem? Thanks.
No, that wouldn't be a problem, because by the time you go into the lab, you'd have all the skills that you need to get started. And when you do your project, you'll be embedded in a research group. So there'll be training you know, for the techniques and things that you would require in order to do your project effectively. So there's the core skills course as well, which will give you a whole week in the lab prior to your project. So you sort of will get the fundamentals at that stage, but we throughout the program, the different courses will lead and build your knowledge and skill sets so that by the time you go to do your project work, you'll be well equipped to do it.
Perfect, thank you. And also, the same person has asked, do they need any sort of special equipment in terms of their laptops? Just standard laptop that's all right? Need anything more technical?
For our course, a standard laptop's perfectly fine. They won't need anything else apart from if they had their own lab coat, they could take that to teaching labs. If not, we can provide them. So yeah, nothing required apart from a normal laptop.
Perfect. And just the last one on that is, do you recommend any literature to read before the course to be basically prepared for the course? Joanne and Helen.
I think just doing some general reading on sort of cancer is the most useful. There's a couple of Future Learn courses which give you the basics of cancer as well, which again I think, you know, are worth signing up for. They're free, and you know, will give you some more background information before you start. But you know, again, the first course that you do will be the sort of the basic fundamentals of how cancer develops and standard sort of cancer treatments and sort of patient journeys and things. So really, you know, I think it's just up to you to do whatever reading you would like to do. But you know, doing some always helps because then you're more familiar with the terminology and the basics of the sort of cancer field. So that would be good to do.
I'll put a couple onto the chat now for people that are really keen to do a bit of reading. I'm just going to copy and paste them from Moodle.
Thank you. On our chat box as well, we have, it's not got a programme specific. Is there a collaboration with the clinical practitioners in the clinics or hospitals? I don't know if that applies to any of the programmes.
I can start. We have a lot of clinical staff actually teach on our course because we're quite translational in the cancer field at Glasgow. A lot of your lectures will be delivered by clinical staff.
Perfect, thank you. Leslie, sorry, were you going to add something?
Sorry, I think our programme's the same. So we have a lot of clinical staff that come to teach on the courses, and we also have links with the ICE building and the Queen Elizabeth University Hospital. So we do have opportunities for the students to go and visit the pathology lab and the MRI scanner at the ICE building. All going well with COVID restrictions and things, that should be, but we don't offer any sort of clinical placements in the wards or anything like that. But there are some NHS projects available on our programme, so when it comes to that point, there are opportunities to work with the NHS, but not in the wards or anything like that. Thank you.
Thanks, Martin. Do you have something?
Yeah, just to really, well, I guess for selling our programs here, very similar to what Leslie said, there's no clinical training per se, but lots of clinical people do teach in our programs. So yeah, there is an opportunity to mix. And then we offer projects within the NHS as well. So yeah.
Perfect, thank you. I think we've got time for just one last question here that I've got, and it's can you tell us a wee bit more about the assessments? So we do only have a couple of minutes, so if there's a wee brief overview for each of the programme, that'd be fab. Do you want to go first? Helen,
I could go first. So for the Cancer Research and Precision Oncology, we have a range of assessments. So these include poster presentations, essays, critical reviews of papers, data analysis type assignments. I'm trying to think what else we do. lab reports when you do your lab sort of core skills course. So every course that we run within the programme has a different form of a assignment, so that you're getting a huge range by the end of it, which really hones your skills in scientific writing and presentation. So we have group presentations, and then later on in the course you'll be doing individual presentations as well.
Thank you. Anybody else want to add anything, or is it quite similar for all the other programmes? Carolyn, thank you.
Yes, so we have quite a range and variety of assessment as well on the Precision Medicine with Specialisms programme. So there are some exams, but it's not all exams. So we have essays, we have a debate, we have poster presentations. These are group presentations. We have annotated bibliographies, which is writing a short critique of papers. We have reflective diaries, reflective writing. So yeah, we have a good range, and again, these are different for different courses. And for the R course, there is a sort of programming, a sort of data type style assessment that you have to do as well. So anything I've missed, Leslie? I think that kind of covered everything.
No, I don't think so. I think as well it's probably good to point out that the university has an inclusive learning community and obviously classrooms. So if there are any issues with assessment type, the university has to offer something else. So most courses across the university have an alternative if that needs to be put in place.
Thank you. And Martin, do you have anything?
Just to finish on that, again, it's very similar. We have a wide range of, nobody relies on 100% of exams now. So there's various ways that these things can be assessed via coursework, essays, hand-ins, all sorts of different ways. And we have a wide variety on the programme.
That's great, thank you. Well, that was very quick. We're now at the end of our session. Hopefully we've managed to cover all those questions that were submitted. If there's anything that we have missed or not had time to get to, please do send those queries on to your programme administrator. And again, those can be found on the programme web pages of the website, and they're in the chat box there for you. So thanks everybody for your time. We look forward to seeing you all very, very soon. Take care of yourselves, and thanks again. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Okay.